Hey bitches, this is Levi from Masculine Intuition Readings, and this is my tarot anti-bucket list. Um, I saw a couple of these. I saw Julie's at Peekaboo Rose. I saw Logan's at Larkin Legend. I saw Cody's from Tarot Readings from a Bitch. That was a really good one. I saw Martin's. And I have a couple of things that I'm not going to do anymore, or at least try to. And, if you like doing those things, that's fine. This is not meant to, be derogatory or be, a form of elitism where I'm like, I don't do this because I think it sucks, and so should you. Everyone should do whatever the hell they want. I'm not going to do a depth year. I think depth years kind of reek of... Depth years can be great. What I see happening a lot is where it kind of starts reeking of elitism, where it's like 4 or 5, I think 4 years ago it was very much, you need all the decks, you need at least 100 decks, like the more decks you had, the cooler you were, kind of, which I found bullshit at the time. And then now it's almost like the pendulum has swung all the way to the other side, where it's kind of like, yeah, I did like a major declutter and like 6 depth years, and I only have like 6 decks left, and I'm really, really good. And I'm like, I know myself. I know that I can hyperfixate on certain topics and spend lots of money, hence all the collections behind me. It's not just tarot. There's DVD special limited edition boxes and horror movie trinkets here. There's figurines here. I mean, I've always had this, and I do have a little bit of a spending problem, but I have it under control, and I always use everything that I get. And once I don't have any money, I don't spend any money, like I'm not the person to majorly overdraft because I want that special edition Baba Studios deck. So, I love spending time with my decks, and I love, using them all. And what I am going to do is throw some more into the rotation like I used to. I used to have this little crate with like my decks for the week. I do kind of want to do that a little bit more. Yeah. But I'm really happy with where I'm at, and I'm really happy with the decks I've added. So yeah, no depth years for me because I already am deep as fuck. Buying more RWS clones is something that I'm not going to do. And people very often, when people hear RWS clone, they don't really know what is. Well, they very often talk about decks like the He-Man RWS or the X-Men RWS, and where it's very much in that same style. But I'm also talking about decks like this. Let me show you. I also see this as an RWS clone, where it's very much that RWS super vibe. I've actually rehomed most of my decks that were in that spectrum, and my readings aren't going to get any different or better or cooler or darker or more twisted when I get an RWS style deck that has dragons on it or cats or owls. It doesn't affect my readings. I can still enjoy looking at the art, but that doesn't outweigh the cost for me. So yeah, I'd rather buy something that's really different or cool, or that adds something to what I already have. Also, no more tarot books. Tarot books are terrible. They're not fun to read, especially when they go card by card. There's one tarot book that I really, really like, and that's this one, which does kind of go card by card, but it's Understanding the Thoth Tarot by Aleister Crowley. It's not by Aleister Crowley, it's by Lom Milo Duquette. Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot. But this reads very storybooky, it's very story-driven, we're recounting history, we're having little bits of correspondence between Lady Frida Harris and Aleister Crowley, and it's interesting. And even if you're not a Thoth fan or you don't really want to study it, it's still a hoot and a half to read, because you learn a lot about the history of tarot in general, and esoteric tarot. So yeah, that's definitely the type of book that I like. But then, you know, your basic tarot influencer who's big on TikTok, who released a book about how to learn tarot in 10 days, which is, just a bunch of keywords and a lot of spacing. Like, no, it's not for me. I did buy a couple of those in the last year, and I was like, they look really gorgeous, also on the shelf. It's literally a waste of paper to me, so I'm not gonna do that anymore. Another thing that I need to like stop is Kickstarters. I feel like the Kickstarter landscape is becoming a bit tainted by creators that already know that they're going to get published mass market, but are still doing a Kickstarter for whatever reason, probably to get money. I'm seeing a lot of creators that are asking super extremely high goals and that are getting them, and I'm like, they don't need that money to have the deck printed, but whatever. But they do it because they can, and I'm not gonna like join in that game anymore. Like, I don't like it. I am gonna back some of my friends, but yeah, no. There are a lot of mass market releases coming out this year that kind of made me feel a bit icky. For example, that Fable Makers Lenticular Tarot, with the moving images. Backers don't, not all backers have their Kickstarter deck yet, and that deck was like funded 2 years ago, maybe even longer, and yet maybe even 3 or 4 years ago, and yet US Games has already picked it up and has already printed it, and it's already available on their website. I loved Kickstarter because there was some exclusivity to it. Yes, Kickstarter is not about buying the product, it's about supporting the creator's vision. But there was this nice back and forth between the creator and you, the backer, whereas you would get this really cool exclusive product, which then would not be available to the masses anytime soon. And now that's kind of like faded a little bit, and I'm like, it's kind of a shame. But whatever, a lot of people will say, no, it's actually really good that everybody has like more access to it. But yeah, me as the backer, I was like, even if you just pledged for a deck, but you the backer, were responsible for even making that deck's existence possible. So there should be some exclusivity a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, or a little bit more, I don't know, discernment. I don't know. People can do what they want, but yeah. Jumping on hype trains. I'm very susceptible to jumping on the hype train a little bit, where I'm like, and sometimes that has worked wonders for me, sometimes it hasn't. One case was last year when me and Martin went to London, and I had seen, Liminal 11 post these things on Insta where it was like, only a couple copies of the special edition of the Seed and Sickle are left. This is your last chance to get the Citadel deck. Get it now, or it'll be gone forever. And I was like, it's really expensive, but I couldn't care less about the Seed and Sickle. It's gorgeous, but the way it's set up really annoys me. It annoys me as I use it, with the 2 guidebooks and the no keywords on the card, and something about it just, it's gorgeous art, but and then that Citadel deck, it sings to me whenever I use it. So I was like, and I already thought it would. It's so well produced, so well thought out. It's fucking awesome. And, so I go into Watkins, and there it is, that holy grail, that tin box, and I was like, I'm getting it. Even got a little bit of a discount, so it was even more affordable. So why am I complaining? Well, I get home, and not less than a week later, I see Liminal 11 post this thing where they're like, the Citadel's coming back, and even bigger and better. And I was like, wasn't that supposed to be like exclusive to... Yes, once again, it's really cool that more people are going to have to enjoy it, but why coax me into purchasing that limited edition? So yeah, I'm done with stuff like that. I'm gonna close myself off from everything limited, um, special, because I really don't want to care anymore. Um, Lenormand decks, also another thing. I don't need any more of them, and I don't see I have a couple, and I don't even see why I would need them because every Lenormand deck reads the same. There is no distinction. There is no different vibe. There is no different aspect to it. Of course, there are some Lenormand decks that have added on layers, um, but Lenormand is Lenormand. And very often to me, the simpler, the better. So, you know, no more. I do kind of want to get more into the Grand Lenormand. I still need to get that book, but I haven't really found the headspace for me to kind of be in that chilled studying in your free time mode. So until I found that mode, I'm probably not gonna really invest time into it because that deck has so many different little. It has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it has 7 little tableaus in the card. Um, Pretty intense. So, but I would love to like master that a little bit better. Yeah. Um, and the rest is it's very focused on buying decks for me. I don't really have, except for the depthier one and the tarot books one. Um, but I don't really have lots of tarot studying goals. I feel really, it's bad to say, right? But I feel really comfortable where I'm at. Like how I read. Um, that I'm just completely fine with it, and I don't really feel the need to spice things up a whole lot anymore. I just love it. I really love where my tarot practice is at right now. I feel really good with it, and so maybe that is part of my tarot anti bucket list. Like, I'm not going to be studying a different system or studying a deck. Who really, yeah, sorry guys, but I've never understood people who study a deck. What does that entail? Like, are we getting our neon yellow markers out and like highlighting bits in the guidebook and writing it down in journals? I've never understood it because to me, almost same with Lenormand, tarot is tarot, and you kind of devise your own little system, and you don't really like it doesn't really my readings don't differ from deck to deck. Am I bad now? Am I annoying? Am I horrible? Maybe you do study each and every deck you get. That's good. I don't really feel like that's studying to me. Wow, we're going on a whole what the hell is deck studying tangent. Another thing that I'm not going to do as much anymore is buy that many random oracles. I want to be a bit more discerning about how they were created. So if it's an oracle deck with pre-existing art and bland Angela Hartfield messages that were written to it, I'm probably going to pass. Anyways, that was my tarot anti-bucket list. I loved it. Thank you for watching, and bye, bitches.